This is a throttle body, standard on most petrol cars these days. This one's faulty. It makes a clicking noise when you try to start the car rather than actually starting the car. What I'm going to do in this video is take it apart and try to identify what's gone wrong with it. I'll just demonstrate what the noise is like. So that's the sort of noise that it makes when the car's trying to start. Now, you need to be wary with this type of fault. Quite often it is diagnosed as an ECU, which it isn't, and it can also be diagnosed as earthing faults. Quite often people replace earth lugs on the ECU or on the gearbox. That's worth a try because these units are so expensive. This one retails at £280 but is unlikely to solve your problem. So let's take it apart and have a look. First thing to do is take these clips off. As I take this apart, you'll see how it works. Just spring clips. Right, those are all the clips off. And this is what we find inside. There we go. So you can see some cogs. Perhaps more importantly here you can see some tracks. And there's the wipers that run on the tracks. For current day engine management, these tracks are duplicated. Because there's no mechanical linkage between the throttle, the pedal in the car, and this unit, these have to be duplicated. So you have two sets of tracks, and these all inform the ECU where the throttle is, where it's positioned at any one moment in time. So we can look at these tracks and see if there's any burning or any signs of anything wrong there. It doesn't look like anything's gone wrong here, but it may be there's an imbalance perhaps between the two tracks that are duplicated. And that may be a fault that's caused this problem, and we can't actually see that. Looking at the rest of the unit, we can remove this cog. Quite often, I don't know if you can see this, the gear wheel will wear in one particular place, and this can cause the sort of fault that we've experienced here. Nothing showing, so that looks okay. That seems to be operating okay. So let's take a look at the motor. We'll have a look at the commutator to see if there's been any burning on the commutator. Standard star screws here. This one out. Good. And that's the second one out. Good. We're now going to slowly pull this motor. Get the armature of the motor coming out. If we look very carefully down here, we can see the commutator with the brushes. Just in there we can see where they connect with the commutator, and that actually all looks fine. Let's try springing one of those up. Well, that motor looks pretty good. In there's two permanent magnets and the bearing at the far end. So let's turn our attention to this. Once these throttle flaps have been removed, they can be very difficult to get back in the right place. So this is perhaps the the last thing that you'll try to take apart. In this case I've cleaned this and I've oiled it, as I suspected that this was jamming. And that didn't work. Two. I'm hoping this will pull out once the flap's out of the way. Unscrew. Incidentally, I've replaced this unit on the car. I bought a second-hand one for £10, which was the cheapest option for this particular model. Prices vary by car. It's a Vauxhall Corsa. There's lots of spare parts available, and it was possible to buy one very cheaply. That may not be the case for your car, so you may need to do what I'm doing here. Just jam that open. Come out. Good. That's the throttle flap. Now we'll attempt to pry this out. Well, I've not managed to take the throttle arm out, but I have found the fault. So if you look very carefully at these wipers, you can see there are 4 wipers that run on these 4 tracks here. I think there's like 2 tracks per potentiometer. So I'm guessing this is looped through here. There's one. If you look very carefully, you can see on the camera, that wiper is slightly lower than the others, and it's loose. So that's pressing properly. Got nice spring action there, nice spring action there, nice spring action there, and a poor spring action there. So the reason this throttle was clicking is because that wiper wasn't pressing as hard as it should have done. So the resistance the ECU would have been seeing from the outer pair of sliding potentiometer, well, I don't know what you call them, contacts, would be different to the resistance seen on the inner pair of sliding contacts, resulting in an imbalance. And the ECU would have recognised the fault, generated the fault code, and switched off only to try again, hence the clicking noise. So this particular unit, replacement cost £280. It's now destined for the bin. I have replaced it with a second-hand unit at £10, but hopefully you can see how easily these units can fail. In fact, looking at that closely, there's a side gone off that wiper as well. Thank you for watching.